Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm reading today for Taurus energy and I'm just going to jump straight into it. So I've been getting this reoccurring message for you every time I've thought about doing Taurus's reading. The same theme has come through, and that is something to do with perhaps being attracted to someone perhaps in high school or many years ago. So it's sort of like when you were younger, somebody from your past, or this could be somebody who feels this way about you. But yeah, it's got this kind of love coming back around energy. Like maybe it didn't work out when you were younger. There's this kind of like knock-kneed, awkward energy to how it previously was, but also this kind of attraction and romance. So it could have been, maybe you dated this person, but it was kind of like that kind of high school dating, or maybe you just, I don't know, spent some time with this person. Maybe you had the same friendship group. A couple of different songs. I mean, there were so many songs. Like I say, every time I thought about doing your reading, a song with this same message would come on. So some of the ones that I remember were Disco 2000 by Pulp, where he says, you were the first girl at school to get breasts. My mother said that you were the best. All the boys loved you, but I was a mess. I tried to walk. What's it? I used to have to work to try and get you undressed. I used to walk you home, but that's as far as it went. I meant nothing to you. So it's like there was a relationship there, but maybe it was one-sided, or maybe one person, maybe it's like the hottest girl in school and kind of like the awkward nerdy boy, or vice versa, like the hottest guy in school and like the nerdy girl, but then like that one that was kind of awkward and nerdy kind of growing up to be really, really hot. So it could be that there's some kind of like high school reunion, or like you run into this person again and you're like, whoa, like when did you get hot? There's old 90s movies where somebody like takes off the glasses and becomes the prom queen. It has that kind of vibe to it. Not to say that people who wear glasses aren't hot, because I think glasses can be very hot indeed, but the kind of meme, the kind of joke that I'm talking about there. But you also have things like Yellow by Coldplay, where he says, you were skin and bones and you turned into something beautiful, which is such a gorgeous line. And then another song as well, and this was the one that played this morning when, again, I was like, oh, am I going to have time to do Taurus's reading today? And then this song came on, and it's July for the Whole Year by Devon Cole. So I don't know, Devon could be important to someone, the place. Maybe somebody's called Devon Cole. July could be an important month. Maybe you met up with this person in July, or you're going to meet them in July. It could be that you're dealing with somebody with a July birthday, which I believe is it like Cancer Leo July? July, August. So the end of July is Leo, isn't it? Yeah, so it'd be Cancer Leo. I am leaning towards, if it is a July birthday, I am leaning towards Leo, because I got a fire reference. I got the reference, a fire that wouldn't go out. And fire would be Leo, but take it as it could just mean the relationship, right? The spark didn't go out. But yeah, July for the Whole Year, if I kind of come back around to this, it says, the summer came and went and the days got colder. Do you still believe in me now that we're older? Do you still dream about someday, maybe one day, I'll try to keep you here? July for the Whole Year. We were both kids of the chase, but somehow you fit right into place. So yeah, it's got the same energy again to it. This idea of kind of like, you were kids, you went to high school together, you had fun together, but maybe not, the relationship didn't quite get off the ground. Maybe there was a spark there, maybe there was a fire there, but your lives drifted apart. But it feels like this person's coming back into your life somehow. I'm gonna get you a song now before we start the reading. Let's see what we get for you. Currently, Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers is playing, so make of that what you will, if that's relevant to you at all. You've got Breathe in the Air, the 2011 remaster by Pink Floyd, with that very, very iconic album cover there of the light going through the prism to create that rainbow. So I'm just going to pull up the lyrics. Breathe in the Air, Pink Floyd. For some reason, the lyrics aren't coming up properly on Spotify for me at the moment, which is not the most helpful thing it could be doing. Okay, so it says breathe. Oh, that is so funny because like look at my notes. You've got the song breathe, and then I'm sorry, my handwriting is atrocious. But look, I've got breath work. So you've got breathing. So I feel like again, maybe you're re-meeting this person, or maybe you're gonna go and do something. Maybe you're nervous, maybe you're anxious, because I was kind of getting through kind of like breath work for anxiety. You know, when you can't quite catch your breath, or it's like you can't draw a deep breath. I was feeling this a bit myself when I was walking home. I was like, oh, I realized that my breathing's a bit shallow. I need to kind of like work on deepening my breath. So, yeah, like do some breath work, do the deep breathing, maybe put on some YouTube videos of deep breathing exercises. You know, do this for maybe even like 5 minutes a day, and it can really, really help out with like your lung capacity, you know, anxiety, all these kinds of things. And I've just lost the lyrics. Oh no. But also kind of like tension as well. I was getting this thing about like holding tension in your shoulders and neck. You know, kind of when you tense and you kind of bunch your shoulders up. I just saw 555 on the timestamp. So this indicates changes. You may have some changes coming into your life, some changes of circumstances. People around you could be changing. So yeah, the song anyway, Breathe by Pink Floyd. Pink has come through twice as well because it also had the song Pink by Aerosmith. I feel like that was a different reading for a different sign, so we'll see if that comes back around. But yeah, Pink in general could be something. Um, it says, breathe, breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Leave, but don't leave me. Look around, choose your own ground. Long you live and high you fly. Smiles you'll give and tears you'll cry. And all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. Run, rabbit, run. That's Gemini energy for me. Dig that hole, forget the sun. When at last the work is done, don't sit down. It's time to dig another one. Long you live and high you fly, but only till if you ride the tide. Balanced on the biggest wave, you'll race towards an early grave. I'm not, I should be more familiar with that song than I am, because I know that Pink Floyd is like, you know, an epic band, but that is not a song I'm majorly familiar with. So I guess it's talking about kind of you know, running around doing things, being really busy, like you race yourself towards an early grave, like maybe like doing too much, you know, always trying to do more. um and maybe it's talking about slowing down and kind of enjoying what you actually have. Interesting. This thing about digging a hole, it's time to dig another one, and race towards an early grave. So you could be having a bit of an existential crisis at the moment. I was briefly picking up on this, and I didn't want to go into it too far, because I know a couple of people with Taurus in the sign in real life where, you know, they're being affected by the, you know, the kind of life and death things. And I don't want to be kind of too grim and morbid in my readings all the time, so I was kind of skirting around it. But you did have the priest card from my own deck, which was giving Hierophant energy, and the idea of like maybe you've been dealing with a priest, which you would be doing if it mentions graves, so funerals and things were coming up. The child is also there as well, so you could be somebody's child. This could be talking about a child. Again, I don't want to kind of dig too far down that rabbit hole in particular. But yeah, just to acknowledge that if that's something that's kind of anyone's going through, that is coming up in the cards. But yeah, you could just be thinking about quality of life. You know, Tauruses tend to be very busy people, tend to be quite hardworking, tend to be quite passionate about what they do, especially if there's any Tauruses who are involved in kind of like the music industry or anything like that. I know that, you know, you can really kind of throw yourself into those things. But this idea of kind of like, you know, what you do, like whether that's work or, you know, a hobby or something, it's part of who you are, it's part of your life and identity. But how much of your energy are you funneling into that, and are you kind of enjoying the rewards of kind of what you're kind of sowing, you know? And perhaps just again that idea of kind of the realization that sometimes we have to slow down, and maybe not put so much effort into kind of earning or winning or achieving or the next thing, and sometimes just slowing down and having that moment where you appreciate what you do have, whether that's kind of monetary things, with you being Taurus and earth sign, and the Hierophant, it can indicate kind of things, your home, your car, your clothes, the things that you have spent your money on, because you've earned the money to spend on those things. So it's kind of like status symbols, I guess. So whether it's like enjoy what you do have, or if this is about taking the time to slow down and appreciate the people around you, because you don't know how long those people are going to be around you for. So again, maybe this is it as well. Maybe if some of you have been going through a period of loss, you could be reaching out to old people, like your old friends from high school, checking in on them, just even saying like, hey, we keep talking about meeting up and we keep putting it off, but maybe we actually need to do that now. Maybe we actually do need to hang out together. Was it your reading? I remember in the last set of readings I was talking about, there was a theme coming through of, I feel like it was Taurus. That's so funny how the same things come up, and again for the same signs. And the idea of kind of like your high school friends and, growing apart from them, and maybe not having as much in common anymore, and kind of being like, oh, I need to stop acting like that. Like that, like I'm in my I'm in my teenage years. I'm not in my teenage years, right? I've got other responsibilities, but also in terms of your health, right? You can't drink like you did when you were a young adult, when you're kind of like in your 40s and 50s, because, you get the hangover, or, you get to that age where it's like the hangover lasts for 3 days because you're tired and recovering for like half the week. So again, it's the idea of like, you've got to look after your health, your heart health and things like that, and maybe prioritize different things and accept that, certain days are gone, and how do you keep those relationships alive but in healthier ways. So you could be looking at like, okay, we're not going to go clubbing anymore, but we're going to start doing, and some of I've been doing like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, so maybe we're going to start doing board games, or maybe we're going to start doing mystery puzzles. You can buy these sets that are like, you can order them online. They're sort of like a board game, but it's like a murder mystery. Or maybe we're going to go bowling together, or maybe we're going to join a five-a-side group. I don't know why I feel like I'm talking to a guy, but it's coming through that way. Switch it around. Maybe again, if these readings for you, you could be concerned about your partner's health, or you've got the child card, so it could be a child or a parent, and you're thinking, hey, you can't keep acting like a big kid. You've got to slow down and, be a bit more responsible. So these themes could be coming up for you. Whew. Gosh, I talk too much, don't I, guys? I over-explain because I care. Right, okay, so I'm using this deck. This is a combination deck of, it's like the Light Seekers Tarot, the Rose Tarot, another one, a Starseed Tarot, by I think Rebecca Campbell. So it's kind of like a mega deck of different decks, and I'm using this to find out your guides, Taurus, like the guides that are around you right now, your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors. Who is helping you out, and how are they helping you out right now? Who is helping Taurus out right now? Which spirit guides are showing up for Taurus? How are they showing up for Taurus? What is the message from spirit? So you've got the 2 cards from the Rose Tarot. Play, okay, have fun, celebrate, and don't be so serious. That's so funny, isn't it? Like with everything we've been talking about. And keepers of the earth, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So I'm going to give you a bit more of a close-up of these cards. I don't know, this always looks like Dita Von Teese or something to me, or like Moulin Rouge, or like Charlie's Angels as well. I think in Charlie's Angels, Charlize Theron, is that a name? No, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is kind of in one of these, I think, at one point. So I don't know, maybe, yeah, go and have some fun, but know your limits, right? I don't know. With Don't Be So Serious, that's interesting, because you actually have the Frog card come out from this deck. It'll be interesting to see if it comes out again. And it always gives me that kind of like, why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17, right? Which again is like, maybe there's this feeling of kind of going through a bad patch and being like, especially with the priest, I don't know if there's this kind of like repenting or like confessing sins energy. Maybe you've been going through a phase of like, did I bring this on myself? This phase of bad luck, or this phase of ill health, or these bad things happening around me. Is this because of something that I did when I was a teenager? Maybe you've been going to a confessional or speaking to a priest. But again, this kind of down in the dumps energy. I think spirit is saying, hey, shake it off a little bit, go out and have some fun. You don't have to be so serious. Like, okay, yes, maybe you need to drink less, maybe you need to look after your health, but fun can come in many, many different forms, right? Okay, again, maybe you're not going out clubbing, but maybe, 2 or 3 cocktails that are kind of, a bit more fancy at a fancy bar where it's a bit quieter and you can actually chat and catch up and talk to your friends rather than just kind of like getting absolutely headless on something. It could be something like that, right? There's different ways of playing and having fun, and some of those can be healthy, like how I said, like joining a 5-a-side football team. You're still having fun and playing around with your friends, but you're doing something that's like a healthy activity. It's good for your breath, it's good for your lungs, it's good for your heart. And then keepers of the earth, you're not alone, ancient ancestors stand beside you. So again, maybe there's just this feeling of like, calling in the moral support from spirit. They are there, they are listening, and they do want you to have fun. Okay, I think I'm going to pop that down there and move these aside. And again, what is spirit helping Taurus with at the moment? Whoa, quite a few things apparently. Mentor. So again, this feeling of, can you see here with the wings, like, you do have this guardian angel, you do have this mentor, this spirit who is perhaps older and wiser. Perhaps this is one of your parents, and they are coming through to kind of like be a bit of a protector. It's almost like holding a spiritual umbrella over your head, and keeping kind of the darkness at bay and keeping that warmth within you. So you are being guided. They are teaching you something. And sometimes the way that we get taught by spirit is to go through hard patches, right? And to know how to pick ourselves up. They show me, I don't know if this is relevant, I don't know if this is like a specific memory for someone, but they're showing me like, when you graze your knees, like when you trip as a kid or fall off a bike and you graze your knees, and then you have like an adult come along and kind of apply ointment or a plaster to your knees. So there's something about like grazing your knees or scraping your knees, like it's part of the process. Maybe this is something that somebody used to say to you. You've also got the heart. Again, this idea of like the matters of the heart. Again, I keep on picking up on heart health for you. So again, just be careful about like the chest region, lungs and heart, and kind of like the health of that region of your body. Just pay extra special attention to that at the moment. I don't think it's a big warning. It's more of a it's like they're giving me like MOT. Some of you may need to go for a checkup, an MOT. Just to kind of like maybe get like a stethoscope on your heart or your lungs, just listen to the sounds that your chest is making. And then the shaman as well. The shaman is again this idea of a spirit guide. So spirit is helping you to Spirit is acting like that shaman figure for you at the moment. They are acting as a guide for you in terms of spirituality and esoteric things in general. I want to say they are protecting your heart while you go through a process where you connect to a more spiritual way of being, is the way that I'm reading that. But of course, if you want to read it differently, you can do. Of course, the heart can mean romance and matters of the heart, which could definitely be on the table. Just by the other things I've been picking up on. Could have a Scorpio involved in this. The Scorpion is coming through as a kind of spirit animal for you at this time. So there could be, again, maybe there's a Scorpio in spirit who's looking out for you. Maybe you have Scorpio in your chart. I want to say there's something about embodying this energy. I don't think it's coming through as a warning. It's coming through more as this idea of like the Scorpion having natural armor, right? It's like it's naturally plated. So you have a natural armor, a natural defense against something like the stings of life, perhaps. Just be careful. I'm going to get another one on that Scorpio. I'm not quite sure what the message is on that. Vulture. Yeah. The vulture is about picking over the remains of the dead. It's the cleanup crew. So the vulture can come through as, it's actually a very, very necessary animal in the animal world. It does a really important job. So it kind of hovers and waits. Say, for example, if an animal has been killed, and like the lions or something, or hyenas are kind of like taking what they want from that body, like what remains is going to start to rot, right? It's going to be bad for the environment and things like that. So the vulture comes in and kind of picks the bones clean. And I'm sorry, that's a bit graphic, but just roll with what I'm saying here for a second. They come and they clean up, and it's like they kind of give me like crime scene. The people who clean. Maybe somebody's been watching that TV show. Greg Davies just flashed up in my mind's eye. So there's a TV show, I think it's on the BBC, with the comedian Greg Davies, where he plays, it's a comedy show, and he plays a cleaner of crime scenes. And so maybe this is a job that somebody does. Maybe somebody cleans crime scenes. But yeah, it's kind of, it sometimes comes through as well of like when somebody's passed away, people kind of like picking at the stuff, like the things that person leaves behind, like the things in the house, and like people come in and say, not in a negative way, but it's kind of like, well, all that stuff's got to go somewhere, right? So where's the stuff going to go? And kind of going through and kind of like, picking through clothes that are going to go to charity, what needs thrown away, does anyone want to inherit any of this stuff? So it could be that kind of process as well of like after death, kind of like picking through the things. But where's this scorpion? So the scorpion is, maybe it's just talking about the sting of that, right? The sting of if somebody's passed away, having to go through their things, or having people going through their things, right? Like it can be invasive, especially if you're going through personal things. Like, I know kind of, I don't want to get too personal, but somebody passed away in my life fairly recently, and they had a safe, and there was photos in the safe. And again, they were very personal photos involving somebody else. So it's kind of like, well, going over the things that people have kept, can sting, especially if there's stuff about like past relationships that can be painful. But also kind of like having other people's eyes seeing somebody's personal spaces and personal possessions can be difficult. There can be a sting there. But again, there's this thing about you having like natural armor. So do take this as it resonates. Obviously, not everybody has been going through kind of a loss. The raccoon's there, which is about a bit, a thief. Like the raccoon is kind of like the thief in the night. So I don't know. There's definitely something going on for you, Taurus. Getting really drawn to how the scorpion has these kind of like pincers, and then the vulture has these kind of claw feet. There's this like picking energy to those cards. But again, Spirit's here to protect you during this process, whatever's going on for you and however you're experiencing this. Okay, I'm going to go through your energy now. So I'm going to ask your heart space, past, present, and future, your thoughts, and your action space. So we're going to go past, present, future, emotions, heart space, thoughts, head space, and action space. So physically kind of what's going on and what are you doing. For some reason, they wanted the Mermaid Tarot for you for this. Somebody could have the last name Robertson or the first name Lisa or Lisa. The High Priestess. So kicking off in your emotional space, in the past, you have the High Priestess. So this is very, very emotionally connected. Again, with that shaman energy and the mentor energy, I do feel like you've been going through a phase of being very, very connected to spirit. You are showing as the High Priestess in your heart space. So again, don't worry about the gender of this. It's showing somebody who knows things without knowing why they know things. It's like, it might not make cognitive sense, but you feel spirit, right? You feel the presence of things that are beyond our physical realm. Like, it's that feeling of like, I know something's going to happen, but I don't know why it's going to happen. I knew this would happen. I felt it coming. And so the High Priestess is very, very, it's a very powerful card. It does say emotionally you were very in tune with spirit. And there is an accepting here as well with this. So if you have been going through something difficult, the high priestess is so aligned emotionally with the spiritual realm that he, um, they know this is part of something bigger, right? They know that they trust spirit. This is the right time. It's the right place. So there is this sense of alignment between you and spirit on an emotional level and on an intuitive level. Very, very powerful cards come out as your first card in your emotion space. Thoughts in the past for Taurus. Five of Cups. Yeah, grief. There you go. There's the grief card. So I don't know why this is coming up like this. This is so strange. At this point in the reading, I don't know why I'm telling you this at this point, but I meant to talk about it at the start and I didn't. It's something about this High Priestess card. So I did the Aries reading about a week ago. And at the time when I did that reading, it didn't mean a lot to me. I'm not an Aries. I don't know many Arieses, at least not in my kind of like day-to-day life. And so I was completely going off my intuition and the messages that I was receiving. I was like, I guess this is your reading, Aries. And then I was talking about random stuff, just completely kind of waffling in that reading, not knowing why I was talking about certain things. And then I actually uploaded the reading and never hit publish. I will have published it before I put your reading up, but just know that whenever that Aries reading went up, there was about a week, just 10 days maybe, in between me doing that reading and publishing it. And in that time, everything played out. And I was like, everything in Aries' reading, like I just was seeing it everywhere. And I thought, why did I doubt myself? Why didn't I hit publish at the time? Because now I know what the reading is, right? So it's almost like, I don't know. I don't really quite know what I'm saying with that, but maybe you've had the same kind of feeling of like, you had an intuition and then it all played out. It's the strangest thing. Like even the things like I was talking about nails and I was like, why am I talking about nails? And like the nails was a thing. And then everybody's been talking about nails all week. And it's the weirdest thing. I was talking about Dr. Sleep and that came out as a thing because I believe the hotel where The Shining was filmed had a fire. I saw another tarot reader talking about it and I was like, that's crazy because I was talking about Dr. Sleep. And so yeah, I think maybe you've been experiencing something like that. This feeling of almost feeling like spirit's hand is on your shoulder or like you're surrounded by spirit. Because look at these beautiful cards. Can you see how like all these wings are around? Like I'm going to say this is you. And again, don't worry too much about like if you look like this or not. But you are this figure who's kind of like praying or asking for help or, sending your spiritual feelers out to see who's around you and then connecting with these kind of guardian spirits, like feeling them. I always feel people at my back, particularly I've got specific guides that come through for me and I tend to feel them behind me, like just over my shoulder. So yeah, I feel like that's the process that you've been going through. Maybe you've had like a little whether this is something intentionally spiritual that you've been doing or perhaps you've just got tokens, like for example, like I still have my dad's glasses that he was wearing when he died, like so and they're just cheap, like pound shop reading glasses, they're not even like prescription. And yeah, this is a token that I got from my dad and they just sit here on my desk, right? And I've got things from my mom and my nana as well here. So maybe this is the sort of thing, you have like a little altar, whether it's an intentional altar that you've created or it's just where the things are, your keepsakes are, or like going through the keepsakes of others. Okay, back to the cards, because this is talking about grief. The Five of Cups is the grief card. So this talks about it's an emotional card, but it's in your thoughts, but it's an emotional card. It's cups, and it talks about feeling the loss, feeling the grief, crying over spilt milk, being in the moment of like being in the emotions of the feeling of loss. The meaning of the Five of Cups, though, is while there's three cups that are spilled over, there's two cups still standing that are behind her that she's not quite noticing right now. And this talks about positivity in the future, good emotions coming back in, and like seeing, going from that feeling of loss into the feeling of hope again. So I also had something, I don't know if there is something about oceans or water. I had a dream last night about, there was polar bears in it, and polar bears indicate Pisces to me. And I was kind of, I don't know if I was in a helicopter or something. I was kind of like high up, and I was looking down at kind of this polar region, like this frozen region, and there was a stretch of water. But I could see from this higher vantage point that where the ice was thick at the edges of the water, in the middle it was like chopping waves, right? It's like the ice wasn't thick all the way through. And then the next thing I knew, I was kind of like I was actually pushing a giant tote box along this snow, and I saw the polar bears, and I thought, oh no, if I'm seeing the polar bears, I know that I'm near the region where the ice is thin. But because this box was still it had momentum, right? It was still being carried forward. By the time I realized that I was in the location of the danger of the thin ice, I'd already gone through it. So I woke up before I went into the water, but I knew that I was about to hit that freezing cold water. And so it's just interesting with all the water imagery, and I've only just kind of recalled that dream. So I don't know if there's anything there for you. Maybe the idea of kind of like being on thin ice. Maybe you have been pushing something to a limit, right? Maybe with another person's boundaries, or in an environment, in a situation, it's like somebody or something has been pushed to its limit, and now you're kind of like getting close to the thin ice. It's like the recognizing you're in danger uh, before it's too late. Is what I'm getting through that. There is also this feeling of like being with somebody else, like comforting somebody else, or maybe the idea of kind of being from two separate places. The seal obviously is a water animal. Like they can come onto land. I think they are a mammal, but they spend a lot of time in the water. That's their environment. Where she's clearly a girl, right? She spends time kind of probably in one of these little houses in the background. So this idea of kind of like being from two different backgrounds or being from two different places and not being able to stay together. It can also talk about knowing that somebody is going to return to spirit, knowing that somebody's time here on earth is over, and they have to go back into the void, like the great beyond, whatever you want to call it. And that's cognitive, right? So this is the cognitive process, the reasoning skills, the knowledge, the thoughts around the acceptance perhaps of that. With the high priestess, it feels like there is something where there's emotional acceptance of a grief or a loss, that this is something that has to be, or this is something that it's time for. And again, this is in the past, so I wouldn't worry too much if you are not experiencing this and you're thinking, what is she talking about? Do I have to worry? Is there somebody leaving my life? I'm going to say no, this feels like past. So if whoever this reading is for, it should be making sense already. Like this should be something that's happened. It's not something that's going to happen. The Knight of Swords. So you were taking some kind of action or communicating something regarding this. The Knight of Swords is a very active card, and it's in your action space. So whatever this emotion was, and it feels like you were riding an emotional wave, which I think we've seen somewhere else, right? Was it in one of the songs, this idea of kind of like riding the wave? So riding this emotional wave, and carrying some news forward, or taking action regarding something that it's like you just know something, and you were communicating this with others, perhaps communicating to somebody in the past because she's facing backwards. So tell me please about Taurus's current feelings. Page of Wands. You're actually feeling very, very excited and enthusiastic and creative at this time. If this is your reading, there's something that's exciting. There's something that has potential. There's something that you want to kind of throw your time and energy into, because you've caught onto something new, and it's something that needs exploring, and you're excited to explore it. This is the meaning of the Page of Wands. It is an energy of discovery. Like you don't have all the answers yet, but you're enthusiastic about this. You want to know more. You want to get involved in something. And then what is going on in your thoughts right now, Taurus? The Lovers. Okay, so yeah, definitely feeling there's that heart space, right? There's something about mirrors. Mountain, mirror, snake, with some cards that came out before I asked for cards for you specifically. Some kind of random cards came out, and it was mountain, mirror, snake. Which we're almost seeing in this card, right? There's mountains, there's a mirror, and then I know it's not a snake, it's a mermaid, but she's kind of got this kind of scaled tail. There could be something about learning to love yourself, learning to what is this? Because there's these two, right? There's the one that's from the land, and there's the one that's from the water. I want to say this is, I don't know, maybe some of you have a twin who's in spirit or something like this, but it could just be something about self-reflection, like learning to love yourself, reflecting on your past self, reflecting on the difference between the version of you that has to show up in this reality and that is subject to the things that happen to you, right? And the things that you have to react to and the things that you have to do because the environment is causing you to have to do these things. And then the spiritual you, the soul of you, which is more authentic and more less affected by the day-to-day of this reality. So there's something about getting in touch with your spiritual side, learning to love that part of yourself, and being very excited to do this, or connecting with somebody who is in spirit, perhaps somebody who you had or a lover's relationship with, because this is in your thoughts. I might have to clarify that card. You're maybe thinking about a lover who is in spirit, thinking about somebody who you are interested in romantically or sexually, who is on the other side. They're not in your reality. Perhaps this is where the grief came from in the past. Tell me about the action space for Taurus right now. Hopefully this is making sense for you guys. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. Sometimes I feel like my readings are so random, and then people will be like, no, yeah, I know what that is. And sometimes it plays out, like I say, over the week. Like I didn't know what Aries' reading was on about when I did it. And then the rest of the week, it was just all Aries. 7 of Wands. There's hostility though. So it's like, because like, look, here's the person from land going into the realm of spirit, right? Or into this emotional place. But there's hostility. It's like, no, you're not, why are you here? 7 of Wands. So the need to kind of like stand up for yourself or defend yourself. And this is something that you're having to do. This is something that you are, because this is your reality, right? This is the physical reality that you're in. This need to defend yourself. This need to, perhaps you need to defend your wants and your desires. Perhaps you feel like you have to defend your position on something, you know, maybe especially if somebody has passed away and you're very spiritual and you've got certain spiritual beliefs around this, you know, if other people don't understand, you know, because you do have this priest card, so that you could be dealing with people who have, you know, a specific religion, or they've grown up with a specific dogma, perhaps from childhood. You know, this idea that you are, if you're into tarot or spirituality, perhaps there's this feeling of like you're dabbling with something that you shouldn't be dabbling with. I definitely have felt this myself. And yeah, I feel called to it. So yeah, how do you explain this to people who may have a different perspective on you? And again, this idea of, if you are romantically linked to somebody from a different cultural background, and perhaps this didn't work out in the past, but perhaps this is something coming back around for you and you're really excited about this. You know, that you could be facing opposition. You know, this person's family could not like you, or you know, be trying to protect this person from you. Especially, I want to say, especially if you've come in kind of fire on all cylinders, because the Knight of Swords is act first, think. Well, no, I'd say the Knight of Wands is no thoughts, only action. Very spontaneous. The Knight of Swords tends to be a little bit more. There's a little bit more intelligence, there's a little bit more thought behind the action or the communication that they're taking. They're normally very clear, they're normally very honest, almost brutally honest, very clear, very concise, very swift with what they're saying or doing. So it could have been that you came in perhaps saying something a little bit too abruptly or a little bit too sharply. And although what you said was logical, it could be that perhaps other people weren't in the position to hear it or receive it at that time, if they were in a more emotional space especially. And then the Wands is I mean, this is all fire in the middle of your reading. You've got the Lovers and the two Wands card, so this is all heated, this is all fire, this is all physical reaction, right? Emotional, physical reaction. It could be that there's some tempers or passions that are kind of flaring up for you at this current time. What is going on in Taurus's immediate future, please? So emotionally, Taurus's future. There's that swords energy again. There's something that's very logical for you. There's something that you've thought about and it makes sense for you. And it's regarding emotions. It's regarding friendships, emotions, companions, soulmates, friends. It's like emotions make sense. Emotions are logical is the way it's coming through for you, especially with the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is very ready to communicate what she feels. She has the words, she has the vocabulary, she has the intelligence, she has the communication skills to really explain what she's feeling. Because it's with these Cups cards again in your emotions, and this is in your emotional space. So yeah, there's logic behind these emotions. There's an intelligent awareness of what you're feeling. This isn't just feeling something irrationally. This is the feelings make sense. I know why I feel the way I feel. It's very clear to me. However, the Queen of Swords in this instance has her sword facing down, which means that she can communicate, but she may not be choosing to communicate her emotions at this time. And this is regarding Three of Cups. So the Three of Cups talks about your social group, the people around you, your siblings, perhaps, your best friends, just the people that you enjoy spending time with. The Three of Cups can be a card about celebration. It can also be a card about gossip, so just be aware of that. But it tends to be, you know, a cheers energy, maybe a get together, an event. Maybe regarding three people specifically. So this could be you and three other people, or you and two other people, because you would make up the three. I'm hearing tea party. But yeah, whatever this is for you, it makes sense. And you feel very clear about how you feel. Yeah, there's no confusion there with your feelings regarding whatever this group of people is. And then what is going on logically, then what is going on in Taurus's brain in the near future? Quite a bit, actually. The Ace of Pentacles, the Nine of Cups, and the Four of Cups. There seems to be an offer on the table coming in for you, or you're thinking about, you could be thinking about making an offer, or there's something coming in for you, and it should be a wish fulfillment, right? This should be something that feels like something that you should be celebrating. So again, it could be money coming in, it could be a job offer, it could be the opportunity to learn a new skill. The Ace of Pentacles is kind of like a fresh start with something tangible and real, like it's like getting a coin in your hand. And the Nine of Cups is about celebrating, wish fulfillment, dreams coming true, like this is what you wanted, right? But the Nine of Cups is also making yourself happy. You don't need anyone else to make you happy. You know how you feel. You know how to pick yourself up when you're down. You're not emotionally codependent on anyone. There's an emotional independence with this. Yeah, it's with the Four of Cups. So there's this feeling of like this offer is not being taken. And I want to say, I'm reading this from the side of you making the offer. You're offering someone something that it's like, you know, that that's their wish fulfillment, or, you know, if they accept this offer, that is your wish fulfillment. Maybe it's like proposing to somebody or something like that, and yet this person's not taking it. It's like this person, I get the feeling, Taurus, that, well, you may have been through something that's been very like the loss of someone, perhaps. But you feel very, there's an acceptance on your half. So it doesn't have to be this specifically, but it's along the lines of, you know, somebody's passed away. You are dealing with this very emotionally well. Yes, you've got feelings. It's not like you're not sad, right? It's like, but you are, you're aware perhaps of accepting that this is this person's time, whether, you know, whatever age they died at, it's, you know, this was their journey, this was their path, and this was, you know, what they had to experience in this lifetime. Trusting spirit, trusting that spirit is looking after these people in the afterlife, perhaps, you know, all these feelings of like handling grief very, very well. And it's not that you're not sad to lose them, you know, you look at this card, but there's an emotional maturity with it, right? This isn't somebody who's like wailing and screaming and, you know, dumping on others. This is somebody who's kind of like, this is how it is. I've done what I needed to do. Let's get on with this fresh start. Let's move forward. You know, what's next kind of thing. Where is life taking me now? I trust my guides, I trust spirit. So there's an emotional maturity regarding this, but I get the feeling that somebody else isn't handling it as well as you. It's like, you know, somebody else is numbing, somebody else is drinking, somebody else is you know, finding it harder to kind of like get out of that swamp of grief. It's like somebody else is still in the Five of Cups, perhaps. So you're making this offer and they're not seeing it, they're not taking it, or they're not understanding it in the way that you're understanding it. Like, I want to say that it's like you almost see the future, you see this new path opening up and you're very excited about it. And yet this person is still stuck in that grief, right? They've not processed, they're not ready like you are. Also, this could be an opportunity that you don't want to miss, and you're thinking, I don't want to miss this opportunity. It could also be this. Action space in the near future for Taurus. That's a bit much. I'm just going to put this straight back because that is a bit too much, Taurus. A bit more clarity, please. Action space for Taurus. So a bit secretive about this. You could have some money that you want to invest in a new home. The Four of Wands can indicate a house. It's like the four posts, right? The tent posts, the four corners of a house. It also talks about celebrating milestones or achieving milestones. I want to say again, whatever, you've got this big picture view of something. It's like whatever's happening, you feel like you're seeing, yeah, it just feels like the big picture. Like you can see, yes, you feel the loss. There's a lot of emotions here, but you also are seeing the potential of something, right? It's like you can see how this, like 5 years down the road, you know where this is going to lead. So it's like you're ready to get on with this fresh start, and to celebrate a milestone, or to, it could be getting married. Honestly, Ace of Pentacles and the Four of Wands, it could be getting married, but, you know, putting a deposit down on your first house or on a new house. It's something like that. You seem really good, honestly, Taurus. I just think that there's somebody around you who's like this betrayal energy. Somebody's feeling betrayed. Somebody's feeling still very, very hurt around you. I want to say, do we need to pull more cards on this? Yeah, let's go. What do you know with the High Priestess? What do you know? So I'm using this deck for like people around you. Okay, so some of you are cross-watching because the Taurus is showing up as the other person. King of Pentacles is a Taurus card. So yeah, some of you are cross-watching for a Taurus. You could be Scorpio. Some of you could be a Scorpio cross-watching for a Taurus. The King of Pentacles, or this could be another person who's just showing up in that energy. So you have a deep intuition and knowing regarding this King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles could be some sort of boss. He can be the person in control of the money. He can be a father figure. He can be a husband. But yeah, he tends to be, because it's Pentacles, it's somebody who's dealing with practical things, especially money, material things, jobs, careers, skills, all these kind of things. But this is kind of the boss of that, the person in charge of that. And you know something about this person. Again, it could be the person who's, for some of you, the person who's passed away is the Taurus. And again, it's not going to be everybody's reading. It's a general reading. It's not a personal reading. So don't take anything that's not for you. You'll know what's for you and what's not for you, especially with that high intuition there. Five of Cups, that's the grief. The Chariot. So that's Cancerian energy. I'm sorry, I've gone quiet. I'm feeling into it. There's a wrestling for control in this situation. So outside of you, this isn't you. This is people outside of you wrestling for control. As people are pulling in different directions. It's like the Chariot can only go one way at a time. It can't split itself into two. So you need to decide. It could be regarding a car or travel. But to be successful, people have to be on the same page. Like there has to be an agreement, right? So somebody's kind of like trying to control a situation where people are pulling in different directions around you. You were showing up in the past as the Knight of Swords. Whoa, that is far too many cards. I just fell all over the floor. I'm seeing King of Cups there. Yeah, definitely a lot of energy with that. What were you doing? What's this? The shadow side. That's the Devil card. Capricorn energy. It doesn't have to be a Capricorn. It's just the association on the card. The shadow side. Was this you or was this somebody around you? I want to say, especially with that mirror there, you were projecting onto someone else. So there's something within you that you saw in somebody else, and I want to say you called somebody out on it. So there's something that you understand very deeply about yourself. And I want to say it's part of your shadow side, right? We all have a shadow side. It's our lesser instincts, right? It's the part of ourselves that we're a bit ashamed of. It's the part of ourselves that gets us to do things we know we shouldn't really do. The worst parts of ourselves. And so I want to say you're very aware of your own shadow, right? And what that means to you. And I want to say you saw somebody else acting in that same energy. And so you recognized it. And I want to say there was action taken on calling somebody out on this. Because it's like better the devil you know or something. It's kind of like, I know that game because I play that. Part of me wants to play that game too. But I want to say there's something where you're choosing a higher path where somebody else chose to take that low vibrational route, but you recognized it because it's a route that was open to you. Now, Page of Wands, you're getting very fired up and excited about something. But someone else is blocking it. Yeah, you want to go for something. There's something that you really are excited for. You really want to go for it. It could be a romantic relationship, but it's getting blocked. Like it's not, that offer is not being taken. Feels like your wish fulfillment, and then they're not seeing it. They're not taking it. I want to say they're not seeing it, right? Because he's looking down, right? He's too busy kind of crying over spilt milk, right? He's too busy feeling sorry for himself. This one's blindfolded. So there's almost this like, don't come near me, now is not the right time, or just plain not seeing it, or not seeing the potential of whatever this is. What's the Lovers card? And something about children. Or the past. Again, I was talking about the lover from the past right at the beginning of the reading. The Six of Cups can indicate nostalgia, feelings of like looking back at your own childhood. It could be that there's somebody around you and you, either it's you spent a childhood together and your lives have took you in different directions, or and then looking back on that and having nostalgia for it, or seeing yourself. There's definitely something about seeing yourself in someone else, right? This kind of projection onto somebody else because they are similar to you, or even because they're different to you, right? Sometimes like you can encounter somebody who had a very different upbringing to yourself, and it can pull up all sorts of weird things from inside you. You know, say you struggled in childhood, say you had, you know, I don't know, divorced parents, or a parent who wasn't great, and maybe you didn't have a lot of money, so your childhood was a bit more of a struggle, and then you meet somebody who was like, perfect parents, quite wealthy, happy childhood. And then you can kind of project onto that person, right? You can project your own feelings of not being enough onto that person, and kind of create a hatred for that person through no fault of their own. Or it could be with the Lovers and children. It could be that there's something about children of a romantic relationship. So what's this defending? There's that Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is coming out both in your energy here and as another person here. So this could be a Libra around you. The Queen of Swords can be a Libra. The Queen of Swords can indicate somebody who's been through a divorce or a separation. She can be a widow as well. So just be aware that sometimes people can be very cold because they're trying to protect themselves. But again, the Queen of Swords is somebody who, she calls the shots. She communicates very clearly. She's very logical. She's very fair. She's very intelligent. Says what needs to be said. So somebody around you, somebody could be calling you out on your bullshit, quite frankly, with that kind of that feeling of like you have to defend yourself. It could be because somebody's saying something. It's like a situation where you went in and said something. You did something, you said something, and then somebody came in and overruled you. Somebody with more influence, more power, more somebody who speaks better than you, because the Knight of Swords is one step below the Queen of Swords, and this is coming through you and this is coming through somebody else. So it's almost like you got overruled, or you said something and then this person shot you down, which could be why this Two of Swords is here as well, right? This is a conflict of opinion, and this is kind of this feeling of like being pulled in two different ways. So I don't think you've done anything wrong. You seem to be very clear on something, but this person has a lot to say as well. And it's like when the reply comes to what you said, or the reply comes to what you did, there is a feeling of a stalemate, especially because this one has a little bit more influence than you in something. But then you have the Queen of Swords up here. So it's like you go away. It's like you learn from them, right? Because then you're the Queen of Swords up here emotionally. So I want to say there could be something where you're processing what this person says, or you're processing what... I mean, this could be legal things as well. Swords can indicate legalities. There's this feeling of understanding what's been said, or even talking it through with other people. Like, I need to talk this through with other people. But then you become the Queen of Swords, right? So it's like you also... Whatever happened here, you've absorbed some of that and it's taking you from the Knight of Swords energy to the Queen of Swords energy. So now you match where you didn't match before. There was something a little bit too impulsive, perhaps. You said something without really thinking it through first. Like, this person's thought about what they're saying. So now you've processed this. And you're in a position in the near future to match this person on their cognitive and communicative level. This is hidden. 2 of Pentacles. So then there's... feels like somebody outside of you is weighing up a decision. Again, this feeling of like, you've said your piece, they've said their piece, and now there's an emotional weighing up. Somebody outside of you is listening to both sides and balancing out the emotional weight of both of these two things. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit vague. I'm doing the best I can, guys. So what's going on here with this? An offer that's not being taken, or somebody not seeing what's on offer. It's funny because this Page of Wands is now outside of you. It's your energy here and it's outside of you there. Again, it could be a child. Specifically be a, because you had the child card, right? With over here, you had the child card, and I've been picking up on this fire sign energy, possibly a Leo. Knight of Swords. Something has been said. Something has been said. Somebody could have been excited about something. Because here's that Knight of Swords and the Page of Wands. Page of Wands, Knight of Swords in your energy, and now it's outside of you here. So I feel like maybe there's this kind of jumping the gun energy of you know, when a kid starts talking about something, like you've said something, the kid's overheard it, and now the kid's repeating it. Very excited, very spontaneous. Taking action on something because they're so excited. It's like the ball's rolling here in some sort of way, but it could be... It's whatever you've said, whatever you've put into motion, somebody else is picking it up and running with it here. They're not being very subtle, where you seem to be thinking, oh, I need to shut up about this now. I need to know this and not say it. This person's running around shouting it from the rooftops, which could cause a bit of a problem. If this is something that you think, oh, I need to keep this quiet, perhaps because you said something too soon over here, and somebody, you know, put a stop to it, they overruled it. So then you're like, okay, I need to be more strategic. I need to be a little bit quieter about my intentions. But then this person's got wind of it and they're running around like shouting. It's like, oh no, shush, 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 don't. You know, sort of like, say you were going to get a little bit of money, like inheritance or something, right? It's like you were going to get a little bit of money from this. And you were like, right, this can be the deposit for a new house. This is perfect. This is my wish fulfillment. But then the kids are running around going, I'm getting a new house, I'm getting a new house. And you're like, shush, because, you know, then the rest of the family might get wind of this. And then they'll be like, well, where's my share? Four of Wands. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, there's something that's in flux. There's something that's not been decided yet. But you could be actually getting quite a little bit of money with the Wheel of Fortune. That can be fortunes turning in your favour, but it's outside of you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm sorry that I can't give you more of a definite answer. 3 of Swords in reverse is probably a positive sign, because that does say, you know, somebody's over the heartbreak. They're moving past it. That cycle's ended. The cycle of heartbreak is ended. And then it does look like there's slow movement forward. But now we end up with 1 black horse. It like feels like the white horse has left and gone in a different direction. Whatever that means to you. Okay, let's get you some advice. I'm using the Muse Tarot. Advice for Taurus, please. Oh, it's landed on my hand. I don't know if that's relevant to anyone in any sort of way. Temperance in the reverse. Um, there is this feeling of the ball rolling. I don't know if you've had to be very patient or you're getting impatient, because the temperance, the Muse Tarot doesn't have reversals. Like a lot of, normally in tarot, you know, you read the card in the reverse, but the Muse Tarot specifically is a unique deck in that it doesn't read reversals. But there is something impatient with this Page of Wands coming out twice, the Knight of Wands coming out twice. There is something that's excited, right? And it's kind of like, maybe just hold your horses, you know, keep things a bit quiet, slow down. Okay, where is the thing? So be a little bit more patient, slow down. You know, if you don't speak as much, you don't have to defend yourself as much. It's like, don't draw attention to yourself unnecessarily, something like that. Everybody doesn't have to know your business, Taurus. You can just do your own thing quietly. Okay, temperance, harmony, balance, the middle path, avoiding excess, blending energies and ideas, alchemy, finding purpose, the Goldilocks zone, meaningful encounters, turning a life lesson into spiritual gold, patience and healing. I feel like you're doing that, right? Turning a life lesson into spiritual gold, patience and healing. Like that feels like, you know, what you've been doing right from the beginning here. You know, accepting things as they are, you know, accepting the things you can't change, and being like, okay, well, what I can do is process this. Where it feels like maybe, you know, sometimes you have people who don't accept it, and if they don't accept it, they can't process it. You know, there's this feeling of kind of like, I want things to be different, I wish things were different, what if things were different? And it's like, well, things aren't different, this is the way it is, so we have to deal with it, right? And we have to move on. And there's this feeling of like somebody around you who's refused to move on, but maybe they see it, right? Maybe they do get to a point where, because you've had this energy all along, right? The Knight of Swords and the Page of Wands, the Knight of Swords and the Page of Wands. Then over here, like whatever you were excited about here, they're now excited about, but they were a bit slower than you, right? They didn't see the potential. They took a bit longer to process and heal and to get to that place where you are. So perhaps being patient while these people catch up. It's like you were a few pages ahead of the book, right? You were a few chapters ahead in the book of life, and this person took a while to catch up. You read faster than them? I don't know if that's relevant. Maybe this is a younger sibling. That you read faster than the younger sibling. Okay. And also the idea of like, you need to be patient for the people around you. You need to maybe be the devil's advocate, because you've got this devil card popping up here, and this feeling of like people pulling in different directions. So this idea of kind of like, if there's cross swords, if there's a conflict of ideas, a conflict of opinions, sometimes you need to play that center ground and get everybody aligned, or get everybody onto the same page. I don't know why it's coming through as books now. This idea of like chapters and pages. The gods took equal parts fast and slow, equal parts material and spiritual, and equal parts she and he. And they mixed them in their lotus cauldron, and as they stirred to life the muse of temperance. They needed this balance and malleability in the world, for her voice of reason would bring them together in a beautiful blend of oneness. Temperance doesn't jump to excess. She doesn't rely on the dark or the full moon. Instead, she is a mosaic of parts, and she melts it all together in a way that spins the best of the best into one. She weaves purpose and harmony into the lives of others, and her greatest alchemical gift is the treasure of healing. She reminds you to turn despair into the gift of patience, and blend the need to thrive with the need to enjoy. When you walk the middle path that is available to you, what areas find greater balance? I am the divine weaver of duality. I hold you. I am essence. And our evolution of becoming is rooted in the mixing. So again, that's the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. Really good tarot if you're interested in, you know, getting a starter deck of kind of like, you know, the normal tarot, like not an oracle deck, but the real tarot, and getting a really beautifully illustrated and written companion guide there. Words are hard all of a sudden. Why are words so hard? I've forgotten how to speak. I'm just pulling Spotify back up and we're going to get you another song to kind of close out this reading. What do we have, please, for Taurus? Advice, please, for Taurus. Coldplay, Fix You. It's interesting. You got yellow and now you're getting Fix You. So maybe this song, funny because I was talking about polar bears and ice and things, and Coldplay. I don't know. There could be something about the band Coldplay, and specifically. Maybe you went to watch them in concert with somebody, or maybe you're going to see Coldplay. When you try your best, I think most people know the lyrics to this song, but let's read some of them anyway together. When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. I think that's, I know some people find Coldplay really cheesy and annoying, like it's not everybody's favorite band, but I think that passage is so relatable, right? Like we've all been there when you've tried your best and it didn't work out, and then you think, well, what's the point in trying if it doesn't get me anywhere? These kind of like those kind of rock bottom feelings, those days when and that feeling of like you're so tired but you can't sleep. Ugh. And the tears come streaming down your face when you lose something you can't replace, when you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. I feel like this is your mentor coming through, right? High up above or down below, when you're too in love to let it show, to let it go. If you never try, you'll never know just what you're worth. And I will try to fix you. I don't know, I love that song so much. And I get that it was overplayed. I get that it's a bit cheesy, but the intention of that song, the words of that song, I think are very, very relatable. And if you've been there as well, if you've been, maybe you are the parent of a child, who's gone through something, to think you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have those days where everything goes wrong and you feel like shit. And on those days, I'm here for you, right? You can come home, you can call me. And I think sometimes the intention of like fixing someone, the idea of things like grief or sadness as being something that is wrong with us, like an illness. I mean, sometimes it is, right? Sometimes you can have things that are chemically wrong with your body and you need to get medication or speak to a doctor about that. But, human beings are supposed to feel sadness. We are supposed to feel grief. We are supposed to have highs and lows emotionally. We're not meant to be flat. We're not meant to be happy all the time. I think if you were happy all the time, you'd be insane. And the positive side of the bad days, the idea that you can't have iconic songs like Fix You if you don't if you can't comprehend what that song's about, if you don't know what, if you've never felt sad, you wouldn't understand how meaningful that song is for people. So the idea of like art being created out of sadness and how cathartic that is, and the beauty of melancholy, and being sad isn't something that needs to be fixed. Being sad is something that needs to be acknowledged and understood and processed and worked through, so that you can come out the other side of it stronger and with a huge amount of soul experience. It's not something, feeling sad, feeling grief, it doesn't mean you're broken. You might feel broken, but if you're feeling grief, you're functioning as a normal human being. And that is an emotion that you are supposed to feel when you've loved somebody. Like, it's a complicated emotion, isn't it, grief? And even if it's not something that somebody's passed away, even if it's like a lover that's left your life, a relationship that broke down, you're not supposed to just go, oh well, that's over now, let's skip off and do something else. Taking a moment to be like, ouch, that fucking sucks. And yeah, maybe I'm happy to be out of that relationship, or maybe I accept that that situation's over. Maybe I have that acceptance and that I am looking forward to what's next. You know, that is also healthy. But that doesn't mean it's not, that you don't feel it, right? Like when my dad died, I think I dealt with it really well. But that doesn't mean I'm not sad. That doesn't mean I don't have days where, I cry, or I miss him, or I wish he was here with me. Um, it's just that I think sometimes, again, the idea of the cognitive um self-awareness when it comes to processing emotions is so hugely important and helpful. And the idea of kind of numbing, or refusing to feel something, or feeling bad for feeling something is particularly helpful and unhealthy. So I don't know. That's just stuff to think about there. If that's applicable to you, and if that's helpful, and of course if you disagree with me and you've got different thoughts on that, that's your right as a human being with your own opinions. um, so yeah, let me know in the comments if you've got any thoughts or feelings or anything to say on that. And of course, if you don't want to share and you just want to keep your situation to yourself, I understand that as well. And I'm going to leave it there. Taurus, I hope this reading was helpful to you. And yeah, I think, again, you seem to be dealing with something pretty well here. So don't feel bad about, I feel like you're dealing with some conflicts around you. Uh, that's okay too. That happens. All you can really do is choose how you react to things, and choose how you handle yourself in a situation. You can't control the people around you. So be patient, be kind. Maybe play your cards a little bit close to your chest, just to avoid any unwanted information spilling a bit too soon. And yeah, good luck with what the future has in store for you. Take care of yourselves. I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.